on today's show, how to develop and deploy marketing campaigns for women. Part 5 of this week's series on Mother's Day, long-term care series. Long-term care expert, Maria Sarchi. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Background Technician and Inspire. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 5, Maria.
At the end, Steve.
Man, I have to say, this has been Steve's, I feel like I'm on the Oprah talk show this whole week. I have to say, I'm so not used to talking about product and financial issues like this. And yet I'm positive that you are on the right track. I see the numbers that we're putting up. I know this is the way to go. I'm sorry, but as advisors, we're just not ready for this. I mean, it's new territory.
You know, we may not be ready, but it's here, and
It's
we have to face it. And the reality is that we have a growing demographic. Female clients are living longer, and somebody needs to be helping them to prepare. This is something that impacts our entire country. And as advisors, I don't see how retirement planning can take place if we're not helping to protect the retirement plan that we've built. So think about that. How can retirement planning take place if we're not helping to protect the retirement that we've built?
I totally buy into that mantra. One of your first things on your list here that I'm reading here is, and I think this would be scary for 80% of my male advisors out in the audience tonight, hosting an all-female seminar. Just that thought grips people with fear, you know.
Well, let's talk about that, because I have spoken at an all-female workshop, and it actually can be something that's pretty fun. It actually can be something that is very interactive. And the reason why I suggest or talk about doing a female-only workshop, and think about Mother's Day in the month of May. Wouldn't it be great if some of the folks watching your segment here can go out and create an invitation to invite their clients and their mother, or to invite their clients who are mothers exclusively, and talk about it being a tribute to their clients who are moms. And the reason why they're coming in is to talk about one of the greatest risks that those moms face in retirement years, and that's a care event. It could be as simple as that. It's not intrusive. It's really about bringing women together to talk about a topic that touches so very many.
Well, I think that's a huge idea, to do a pre-Mother's Day kind of event right before school gets out and everything. That's great. And being able to appeal on a whole nother platform, which I never would have thought until you brought this to me about a couple weeks back, where we're talking about celebrating. Usually I'm a pretty good calendar guy. I tweet to the calendar. I've had stuff for Mother's Day. I just never incorporated long-term care with this.
Yeah, well, I'm in the long-term care planning space, and I've been here for a number of years. And when I think about moms and I think about their caregiving role, I can't help but think about what and how we can help mom at a time when she needs us most. So I'm not saying at all we should exclude our male clients, but this is a topic that touches so very many women. And when you look at May and Mother's Day, it's an opportunity for your advisors to step forward and do something that's a little bit unique with their clients, to bring a topic that they're already talking about, and to show them that these advisors have ways and strategies that can be meaningful in finding a solution.
I had an experience. We have a facility here in the Phoenix area called Freedom Inn. I was there for about 8 weeks in a row, 8 weekends in a row. I saw women that were in their 80s and 90s. I mean, it was quite a population. And some were using walkers and so forth. I sat down to just curious, how are you doing? How's it going? What did you not expect? And the number one return question back, or answer back to me, was the loss of privacy and modesty. Now see, that really, I would think to myself, modesty? Well, somebody's taking care of you because you can't take care of yourself. And I'm thinking, somebody's taking care of my mother.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
That's a conversation I want to have.
Well, it really strikes a chord. And when you think about care planning, it's about what kind of chords are hit, because it affects so many. And the activities of daily living, which often are the reason that somebody needs assistance in a facility or in their own home. Maybe they can't get from bed to chair. Maybe they need help dressing. Maybe they need help bathing. Not fun things to think about, right? But reality of what happens as we mature. And so think about who you want providing that care to your mom. And think about putting some decisions in play today that give her the greatest choice with that later on. And you're right, the loss of modesty can be really challenging to get through.
I would use the word traumatic.
Yeah.
Traumatic for and the women that I spoke to, That was their number one
Yeah.
transition issue that was difficult.
Yeah. But it's a reality, Steve. And so we just have to teach people that there are solutions out there that can help them with that. So if the modesty issue is there, at least giving them some control on who gets to come in and help them dress, that's something for them as adults that they continue to get to make a choice on.
You were talking about some of the ADLs and some of these activity of daily living, which is the very thing I've noticed. I'm wondering, strictly from a marketing campaign, now I have my audience here. Is this something I want to bring up, which is not only the 4 questions that you said, which I think are powerful. If you missed yesterday's show, you need to go back out and watch it, the Thursday show episode, part 4 of this series. But I'm thinking about ADLs. These were very personal things.
Yeah, they are.
And they're so personal, and I want to be able to say, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel human.
Yeah. Freedom and independence. To me, it's a great way to open up a care workshop. Freedom and independence. That's why you're here. We want to assure your freedom and independence throughout all of your retirement. And though the ADL discussion has to be there at some element, because those are actually the triggers for receiving your benefit, it's about giving people control and empowerment, not about having them feel fearful that because they might lose their ability to take care of themselves, that they have to make this decision. In my opinion, care planning should be sought after because it means you get to make decisions later in life.
When we come back, we're going to talk about something that Maria wants to chat about, which is implementing an ongoing communication, kind of dripping and touching issues with your client on an ongoing basis. Could be through social media, could be through email. There's a lot of good, cool things on this. We'll be right back and talk about it right after the break. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. When we talk about ongoing communication, everybody knows about drip campaigns. That seems right? But now we're talking about ongoing communication. It's kind of a way to market and keep yourself in front of the people. And sometimes, as I said, I gave this story, the first segment, about people just thinking, wow, someday somebody's going to have to help my mom,
Right.
In certain very private and very human ways.
Sure.
I don't know if I can overcome that.
Well, that's what we're here to talk about.
Right.
We're here to talk about how to engage female clients in the conversation, how to engage their adult children in the conversation, and it should be something that's positive, not negative. This is planning that helps the family on all kinds of different levels. And we spoke in the last segment about hosting a workshop for females. Sometimes where you could see things really start to fall off the trolley is if you just have the workshop and move on and forget it. I mean, this is a topic that you need to revisit once or twice more. As a matter of fact, when we host workshops on care planning, that's just step 1. Step 2 is coming back to do individual client consultations because care solutions are not a cookie cutter approach. So building a marketing strategy, if you will, around these female clients, starting with an invitation to the workshop, perhaps in the month of May for Mother's Day, as a great segue to part of the reason why we're here is to protect the retirement plan we've spent years building. And then at the workshop to be able to say, look, the conversation doesn't stop here. We were really high level. Now we want to go to the little bit more deeper level, individual one-on-one with each person in the room, invite them to bring a spouse or a child along with them, their adult children, so they could see all that goes into making these right planning choices. And even when you have that one-on-one consultation, it's important that the conversation doesn't end on that day, that there's information that we constantly feed. Some of the pioneers in the long-term care planning industry, some of the writers of this kind of insurance, have just the most phenomenal information that you can pass to clients. It's not product pitch stuff, but it's all about the awareness element and the importance of doing it. The solution that we find, well, that's the end result. That's the how we get there. But the why we do it, that takes some work up front.
Some years back, we did a wellness convention out in Sun City, which is a very heavy geriatric community in Arizona. And they took a little bus tour for people who are interested in facilities. What's out there? What's going on? And they took them to a county Medicaid type facility first. which was very hard for many of them to walk
Sure.
through. Then they took them to a more medium-sized nursing facility, and then one that was very high-end, very high-touch, high service.
Yeah.
That, to me, was a distinctive tour because people say, I can't imagine being 85 and needing your services. But now they say, wow, after that, I can imagine it. I think part of our problem sometimes is visualizing how are women looking at later in life lifestyle? How are they looking at it?
Well, most definitely what I'm hearing from the client base is, look, we want to live on our own terms. We want to be in our own home. As a matter of fact, that's where most individuals receive care today, is in the comforts of their own home. But it is individualistic. You might talk to one client one day and she feels a certain way. You may talk to another client another day. She feels very differently. That's what's so great about planning options, is that you give choice. And when you can do that, when you can teach about what's available in the market, when you can bring folks in at a consultative level, when you're not just buying based upon a menu of different options, great things happen for families. And the only thing that I can say, and I can't stress enough, is that care planning is all about independence and freedom. Truly, living life on your own terms and with a lot of great dignity along the way.
I've seen more homes, not only as we talked about a couple days ago in multi-generation, but I've also seen homes that are completely built for geriatric living at home, where cupboards are now have electronic opens. The dishes aren't at the very, very top any longer. They've reconfigured the kitchen for later living.
Yeah.
And we're already heading down this. Where beds, here was a shocker, where beds aren't high anymore. They're a lot lower. Yeah. So when you're walking, you're actually stepping out in a natural way, not a falling down on an unnatural way. You're seeing different things like the new tub, the walk-in tubs that are all there. They have where you can't slip. And I think if the construction industry, which is keying off this, and you'll notice that all the new hotels are built to accommodate this, because they say if we don't have hotel guests, we're going to migrate over to the long-term care industry. They're already building hotels like this.
Yeah, they are.
So I want to be able to talk about in my marketing and my ideas, I want to have small touches along the way. One we're doing today is Mother's Day, maybe Valentine's Day, maybe Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas. Could be ancillary touches along the way your client, where you can say, we're having a big, we're going to walk through a brand new home spec'd out for geriatric living. Would you like to come? We're going to do a small lunch. I love ideas like this.
Yeah, you have to be creative. In an industry of things that are a little difficult to talk about, you have to be creative. And there's no greater gift that we can give to mom than the gift of her own freedom and independence. And we just have to open up that conversation to help her realize what's available to her, because she's thinking about it.
I'm thinking about how Mom's Day is going to have a whole new twist to it after this episode. So people are actually thinking about how they're going to care for their mother. Mom cared for us for so long, now it's her turn. That's all we have for today's show. Remember, before moving forward with any ideas, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? You can view all our past episodes at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. This is Steve Savant. I'll see you next week.